Good evening, folks, and welcome to the official ARK AMA podcast. This is Fortunate coming at you. We are now sitting on Thursday, November 17th. We are at about 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are excited to be here with you yet again, just like we are every other night, every single night. Without further ado, I'll pass you over to our wonderful founder, Mr. Atlas. The floor is yours, sir.
Thanks for the introduction there, Fortunate. This is podcast number 17 here at ARK. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here with us this evening. We are getting ready. The public sale round 2 tomorrow is going to be at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. UTC. And I think most of the folks, that are here listening with us or maybe listening tomorrow already know a lot of the details about it. We're going to open it up soon to some questions. I want to share a couple of updates. Primarily, we had a very, very constructive and I think professional AMA that happened a couple hours ago. It's pinned here in our chat if you'd like to listen to it later. With Aaron from Team Passive. They're a nice community of about, I believe, 400 investors, very educated, very savvy, experienced investors that are obviously interested in ARK. They've got some positions. She's got a team she's building over there. So it was an honor and a pleasure. She had fantastic questions that really gave us a chance, I think, to talk about ARK, what we love to do, answer questions and really interact with our potential investors and those that are still doing their due diligence, analyzing, our white paper, asking the questions, and really setting themselves up for this fantastic investment. Another update that we have, let me check here. 1 second, guys. Okay. Nope, we got something else that we'll release a little bit further in the podcast. Is there anything, Brett, that you wanted to come and share with us?
We had a great AMA today. Great to hear the really well delivered questions that team had. It was fun being over there, and looking forward to those, as you mentioned, experienced investors coming into the project, and at the right time. We've got the pre-sale coming up tomorrow, so we're pumped for that. Got a friend coming 3.5, 4 hours from up north. Down here to help. I got to help him set up his MetaMask and get everything ready for tomorrow. So it'll be fun. It's going to be a great event. I'm sure we'll all be in the voice chat here and looking to hear some excitement and everybody clicking as fast as they can on the keyboard. So we're looking forward to a quick sellout tomorrow.
Oh, it's sure to be subscribed, and we want to make sure, guys, that everyone gets a chance. I want to be clear that every intention has been made forth here by the team to ensure that we spread it out, give everyone an opportunity. So there's only 900 NFTs that will be available for purchase tomorrow. You will only have the opportunity to purchase one NFT per wallet. So if you're going to try to buy two, you're not going to be able to. There's another important feature that's built into the DApp and the contract. If you go ahead right now to the contribution page for the pre-sale second round, you will be able to now, until purchase, you'll be able to get ahead of it to save some time and approve your BUSD. And you can leave that set. You will not have to refresh the page. When it comes time, 12 p.m. EST tomorrow, 5 p.m. UTC, you will be able to go ahead, click that button, and interact. So, putting that limit is very important, and I hope you guys appreciate it, as we want it to be just plain and fair for everyone. So we'll have to see how it rolls out tomorrow. There was definitely, in our second round, so much demand. There were a lot of folks that tried to interact and just couldn't get through. I mean, it was a ton of bandwidth that went down. So understanding that, we believe by spreading it out this way, hopefully we will have the ability for folks to really take advantage and seize that opportunity and get their NFT. That's really the intention here. And is there anybody that has a question? I believe Nato, you had a question about the pre-sale tomorrow.
I'm thinking. So wait, shoot, it slipped my mind. Apologies. I'm basically one per wallet each time now, and pre-approved. You can pre-approve BUSD like you said. And just trying to. Oh, and BUSD only. So I think I'm clear. It's just a matter of timing. Oh, do you think that you might add more, like squeeze in another allocation, or you're pretty set on the rounds?
Oh, we're set. We believe it's fair. It's going to be 800 the week after, and it's going to have the same one NFT per wallet limit.
Yeah, it's a steal now.
It's a steal now.
I think folks have a fair chance. Catcoin, would you like to ask a question or make a comment?
Yeah. Hey, how are you, Atlas? So I haven't caught up on the reading and stuff, but my investment was one bean, which was at the time 317 or something, and the minimum was what, 250?
$275.
275. Okay. So I'm a little bit.
You're going to. I'm sorry. Catcoin. It was 250 minimum and 1,000 max for the private. My mind's thinking about tomorrow's resale. You're going backwards. Okay. So 250 minimum.
So is it just all prorated, the amount of coins then based on the amount?
Absolutely. Yeah. The smart contract is giving you the price at that instant for the market value for the transaction. So you received exactly what you put into it in BNB, as if you would have had done BUSD.
Gotcha.
So correct.
Gotcha. Thanks.
You're welcome. Happy to see you here, brother. Who else has a question or a comment?
I have a question. So we were talking yesterday with a very nice new investor that came into the family, and he's going to be buying tomorrow. We were talking on the VC. So while talking, we simultaneously came up with an idea. I don't know, like Brett would probably be the best to answer that one, or you, or the team. So how about redeposits being set to be made automatic too? So if someone sets the system to auto claim or auto compound and auto claim, how about setting a certain percentage that I want to go back in every time? What do you think of this?
Yeah, so what it'll do is it'll set a certain percentage for you if you're doing the auto allocation.
Yeah.
If you're doing it manually, so it does a certain percentage. So let's say you're at a CWR of 1.0, then it will take 50% of the available rewards and compound them, and then 50% and withdraw them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So we have that already in place, or are we going to implement that?
No, we're going to implement it. It'll be ready before launch for sure.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Because that
Hold on, I didn't understand that.
That would make the system totally hassle free. Like, you don't have to do anything about it. You can go on with you can set it up and don't touch it. Nito, was that you?
Yeah, pardon me, bro. I wasn't
Oh, no,
grasping it
it's
fully.
okay. It's okay. So That friend that came in yesterday, and we were talking to the VC about his investment, and I was answering all questions and everything. And he is one of the people that don't want to spend too much time on compounding or claiming or whatever. He is like more of the set it and forget it type, right? So he said, like I explained to him how redeposits and all that help to maintain that 2% and everything, and he said, like would that be possible, like to be automated? And then yeah, we thought that that would be a very cool idea too. Like you can set whenever you want to the system to auto redeposit too a part of your claim. So that would be very cool, and
Oh, you mean compound, basically.
compound, yeah, but a certain percentage, like telling the system keep the 50% as Brett suggested now, and
Oh
like
yeah, that's
put
great.
the
That's great.
yeah, and put the 50% back in. So you don't touch it, you set it up, and then you go like a week or whatever, then you can change the setting and follow a different strategy. But that would be ultra cool, I think, like you to have that system redepositing for you too, not just compounding and claiming, but redepositing part of your earnings.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got a question. That's good. That's very passive and automated for people in multi-wall strategies.
Yeah,
Wondering, in general, you think that's going to all require more gas, though, right? Because every step in more interactions with the contract, you need more gas for every step, right? So you're going to
yeah,
have more allocated.
probably, but you see, like there are people that really don't have the time, or they don't want to have the responsibility to do anything. Like they just want to invest and reap the benefits and follow strategy for a certain time at least. So that would help them do that more relaxed, and it would also be a good thing, for everybody and the system too. It's an like if you ask me, I'm all pro automation. Since day
Oh no,
one,
100%. I agree,
since day
100%.
one, we've been talking with Atlas many times, and I told him, like, even like before months, like I'm like that's I love automation. And one thing I asked is that if we're going to follow the automation system and we're going to incorporate that, but that idea that came yesterday is extra cool for me, and everybody that's interested in that system. So claim, and then like a percentage go back in, like automatically don't do nothing. That's going to be very, very good, I think.
Yeah, and then have what's not redeposited go to our ARK debit card balance, so we could use it in the real world too. Boom.
Of course, yes, you can divide it and set it and forget it, and that's probably, I don't know, but I think we're gonna be probably the first token of this type of tokens, at least, and maybe uh, in general that we're gonna incorporate the system like that. Because there are automated projects, but I've never came across a project that allows you not only to auto compound and auto claim, but also to auto redeposit part of the money. That would be like innovation.
Okay.
One
Okay,
more
but
bit of it.
I wanted to know how much more gas is to automate versus manual. Because if I have a multi-wall strategy, and this applies for other protocols, like I want to, because I do more wallets, usually, in some things, it
Certainly,
becomes
yes.
significant.
But
Yeah.
that because that idea came just now, just yesterday, we came up with it like as an idea. That would have to be Brett to look into it, and intricate the details of that, how that would work. But again, I
No,
think that
we already have it. We already have it designed and everything. The
great.
question about gas is that you have to put in, like, we can't predict exactly. What we're going to try to give you is an estimate and then we have to overshoot a little bit, obviously, because gas fees vary so much. So you
Oh
have to
yeah.
have a buffer in your account, or else it stops. So the best we can do is give you a forecast based on the current price of B&B gas and everything else, and then you have to put in a little bit extra. So yeah, I guess relatively we have to overshoot, and it's going to cost a little more, but it's the difference between you know, being there and attending to it every day, or the automation. So you pay a little bit for the convenience of the automation.
Yeah, because the automation
Yeah,
offers you the automation offers you that relaxing system that you don't have to attend to it, but like we can like include deposits in it. Like I think most people are going to go for it no matter what the extra cost is,
yeah.
and I think that, yeah, I think they're gonna love it, in my opinion.
Brett, yeah, I get it's going to be more. I know that because you have overshoot and all that. But how many times more is auto compound stuff versus manual? Is it like 2 times more or 3 times more? Do you know how about that relative?
I don't exactly know, so I don't want to mislead you on that. But my guess would be it would be a couple times more. So let's say your gas is 30 cents, it'd be 60 cents or somewhere in that range. But you know, what we need to do is get an idea for the transaction costs, because Mr. Green has done such a great job of paring down these contracts into a very efficient contract design, and so we don't really know where our gas is going to end up yet. So once we have that baseline, I think then we'll be able to predict a little better, you know, what the automation will cost.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Furio, it costs 3 times more to auto compound than manual. 3 times. So if you're running a multi-wall strategy, that becomes expensive. Probably for majority, maybe they're running couple wallets. That's not a big deal, right? They would like put in like, a fraction of BNB and then be good to go for a long time. But if you're doing more wallets, that stuff adds up, especially if you don't allocate enough for the future price might be appreciating, right? Because we're kind of settled in the price. I don't know,
Yeah.
200s or something. It could go 400 or 500. Future price could actually double. So imagine spending hundreds, if not thousands, and well, maybe not that high, but it could be quite a few more than a few hundred even a month. The difference is significant, especially if you do
Yeah.
multi-wallet. So it'd be good to know. But I'm guessing it would be the same. However, it's funny where if you look at, I'll drop the, it's fine, like a piggy bank, for example. The gas actually to compound the stakes, those are it's actually half of what the manual compound value is of Furio. I've noticed, okay, because I have multiple stakes, so obviously that stuff adds up. That stuff adds up. It costs money, B&B
Yeah.
rather. So and so what I end up doing is I can literally adjust it down manually and to where the GUI is low enough so it could still go through. But obviously, if it's too low, you just waste some gas. Not a big deal, but I'm just saying on a brand and for multi-wall strategy, it's good to be able to optimize. It would be really great if you guys could allow to bring it down. Okay, bring it down relative to what a manual would be. That would be a good appeal. That would be appealing. I think more people would do smaller wallets, a greater number of wallets, and more seeds. Let's call it that way. That
Mhm.
was something
Yeah.
I would like. I would be interested in.
Yeah, it's not a profit center for us. So obviously, we're not trying to make money on it, but you also have to have that buffer, because if it runs out of gas prematurely, people get upset. So if they put in enough gas for say 10 days and it runs out after 8, then it creates a bad experience for everyone. So I understand exactly what you're saying, and a 3x on a higher gas fee is obviously pretty extreme. If we have a lower gas fee, and this is in my area of expertise, Mr. Green's the one that could come in here and school us all on that. But the way he sets his contracts up are very gas friendly. So I would say you could expect our gas fees to be, much more affordable than what we've seen in other protocols.
Yeah, if you could do it like what piggy bank is, it's literally, I could tell you right now, 0.00 instead of 0.0012. I even remember it. Like depending on the amount you're compounding, it's funny. It's based on how much, because the interaction, right? More interactions, I guess. And so they can do half, 0.0005 per compound. Now, the reason why I'm kind of stickling on this thing is because it affects the cost. So if I told you how much the gas is, it'd be kind of seem silly, but it's okay. It's just that
Yeah.
it definitely adds up. And for other
Yeah, keep in
parties,
mind
I know they're going to agree with me.
the piggy bank is a much, I would say, simpler contract. We're hitting that blockchain, a lot more for data, and the transactions are a lot more complex, which is why Furio is significantly higher. But we've been able to pare down and look at the lines of code in our main contract are about 25% of what the other contracts we've seen are. So we're hoping that's going to help a lot. And but we won't know until we get rolling, So, but like I said, we're not going to 5x the gas cost to try to skim some money off our investors. That's not our goal. It's not a profit center for us. So we'll try to keep it as tight as we can while keeping the user experience as good as possible so they don't run out of gas.
Yeah, and if you undershoot it, you can warn people like before their time is up. Oh, you need to deposit more gas just in case. If that way you don't always have to overestimate. Look, for the majority of people, it's okay. I'm just saying for some use cases, more wallets, it's gonna look good on your analytics when you have a growing number of ARK wallets faster because of this, just actually this, and obviously optimizing the contract to reduce gas fees. So I like hearing that. But thank you for being concerned with this detail.
You're welcome. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, it's extremely important as we understand that a lot of folks have a multi-wallet strategy. It's part of the game. So every attention to gas and all of the contracts has been something that he's been working very, very hard on. So fantastic work, and you're going to notice a difference. There's no doubt about it. Let's get this crypto. Any other questions? Who would like to come forward and ask? We'd love to hear from you guys. I think we're going to have to start doing a BUSD giveaway, Brett, to get people coming and asking questions, or like I said, I've said it many times.
I have a suggestion. Atlas, we should do in light of Z's beautiful story yesterday, allow people to deposit. If you're going to automate deposits, you could allow people to take a fraction of that and have it go to that charitable cause if you want it. And you could basically score people, if you want it, based on how generous they are as well. Maybe throw them in a raffle or something like that. There's a lot of ways to play it, but that's just thinking out loud.
Absolutely. And I've always said it, you might end up being hired here by the team to be our resident question, person, because you always come up with great things. I know a lot of folks are thinking, but maybe they are afraid to ask, and your courage, really comes through in providing that education. And then you go deeper and you really look into the small little details, and you find things that I think a lot of investors aren't even thinking about. So again, brother, thank you for always stepping up.
The idea is very simple, because when you go to a grocery store or whatever, they ask you, do you want to also add, a little bit, or what are those apps where you can actually round it up to the dollar, and you could also donate that way. You know what I mean? So there's or they use it for savings instead of charity. But there's a lot of ways to play it. Look, you can talk about green tech. You could talk about charitable causes, with various ethos of the company. So if you want to have that shine through, I think that would be a unique bright spot as well. If it follows that the spirit of what you're going towards. Like, for example, what was the shoe company where they had a fraction going to third world, for children? It supports the shoes, things like that. People care, and I think that could spill into the real world, especially with these utilities. All that just kind of spills over. So I just see opportunity there for
I love it.
Bringing a messaging that way.
I love it, Nito. I love it. And a tip jar for you as well would be awesome. Throw Nito an ARK. Why not? Hey, we have tonight Mr. Z live and direct, coming from Asia hours, but I guess you're adjusting to the jet lag, Z.
Hey guys, how's it going?
You sound like tired.
I'm on the top of a mountain. It's pretty cold here, but the views are beautiful. And yeah, in an hour or so, we're gonna see sunrise, and I'm gonna see it on the top of the Himalaya equator, which is gonna be beautiful. And I'm having there's this thing called the Kashmiri tea. It's like a pink tea that's very sweet, and I'm just sipping on that and taking this all in. How we doing here?
Are you in the wilderness or in a home cabin,
Cabin.
treehouse?
It's a cabin. It's a
Okay.
cabin. Uh, Fortunately, my hotspot on my phone allows me to communicate with you guys. So happy days.
Incredibly happy days, man. I remember, I believe last year you traveled in Asia and sometimes having issues with the bandwidth. So you sound extremely clear, like you were here with the rest of the ARK family.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here, and it's strange. I was in a crowd of, let's say, 300 children, and everyone sort of talked about the internet. Everyone talked about communicating with the world, and everyone talked a little bit about cryptocurrencies. And it's surprising how the generation now takes an interest in how they absorb information compared to generations before. I feel kids now are much more smarter, aware of a lot of things like national politics to international development and these complex things that used to take a long time for my dad to explain to me. And I have these kids explain to me modules and stuff that it's a thing. And I believe it's the mobile sort of devices and the open sourcing of information and all the things that gives them the sort of hopes to really grow from, and to know that DeFi is going to be there for them to have that, and to know ARK is going to have its mobile app. So I'll be the perfect person to pitch it to the young kids of our next generations. It'll be pretty cool.
Oh, fantastic. And I can't think of anybody better to break it down for them with all your knowledge and experience in the DeFi space, brother. So, man,
Absolutely.
that's beautiful.
So yeah, like some of these kids, they ask like, how do you develop, an interest in crypto and stuff? And I said, you got to have fun with it. That's the very first thing. If you're not having fun with it, if you're not childlike with it, like you are in your youth, do not grow into an adult with it, because an adult does not take risk. An adult does not take the unknown risks of learning new technologies and stuff. And but I believe this generation is much more sensitive. It's much more open to new ideas than all the previous generations, which gives me hope. And yeah, like they're just really open about all things. I didn't think the kids here enjoyed soccer, but soccer is a thing here. And I played some football with them in the afternoon. But yeah, I'm enjoying myself here, and I've learned that I can have long conversations with people half the size of me, which is cool.
Yeah, man, you just got to make sure to educate them correctly. We don't need young degens in the space. When you mentioned that, it reminded me. There's a song. I have to pull it up and find it if anybody's interested in hearing it. But there's a song that they did over at Roots Lounge because they got honeypotted by an 11-year-old kid. Like
I remember that. I remember
You remember that?
I remember like they were in a token, and everyone was like, something strange just happened, and then someone just unmutes their mic, and it's a kid saying, "I honeypotted you. I've taken all your money," and it was hilarious. I don't know what, and everyone just like was laughing. No one was angry. They're like, "Dude, we're like in our 40s here, and an 11-year-old kid just took our money. That's amazing."
Yeah, moral and ethics need to definitely be in play, and also the gambling behavior. We're talking seriously here with children and buying the dip and hodling. There has to be a lot of think of values and true, investing when you put these tools into their hands.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I can just imagine kids in a few years from now, whenever they're offered an opportunity, they'll do their fundamental research and Google and crypto Twitter their way in through their policies of that token, and then they'll go to TradingView and look at the chart or DEX tools. Wouldn't that be something?
As long as Elon's tweets are not the only indicator they're using, this should be okay.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, the world uh, is sort of developing something. It's something I've been following a little bit because I studied the tech crash in 2008-9 a little bit, Atlas, and it's something I want to share. I feel when things have a CEO or have a centralized figure that all checks go through, that's when collapses happen. And the sort of opportunities that sort of like even Google offered when it open sourced information for the first 5 years, that's what developed the first arc of the internet. And I think we're going through the same sort of panic now in crypto, and we're like, are these figureheads that we sort of read about, gossip about, and sort of follow? Are we following them blindly? Do they do their checks? And this week, we're seeing that decentralized finance sort of escaping the root of all evils in a way, where we're having centralized exchanges being questioned, and like I would sort of like hinder into the same voice as some of these leaders and say that the big players about to enter crypto, and we're going to go through a bit of flushing. We're going to go through a bunch of, I think right now we have 20,000 active tokens, and I believe that in the next few years there's going to be a backing of maybe 2 to 500 of them. And right now, all these institutes right now, one of them gave their interviews. JP Morgan just gave a analysis of what's happened this week. And if you don't mind, can I share a few words?
Of course, you're the guest of honor, man. You could go and talk all you want. We love it. That's why you're here.
No worries, no worries. Let me just bring this up a little bit and kind of share these things because it's vital that we kind of go through this.
You want to screen share or not?
I don't think I can screen share with the bandwidth I'm here. Any more additions to the bandwidth and then I'll crash. So what I'll do is I'll read from it. We will do a radio podcast today. So JP Morgan told its investors to basically stop trusting centralized exchanges because they aren't physically peer to peer. They manage a wealth in a way that you don't want it to be, where they cannot, where accountability is not taken, and basically they're saying decentralized finance, on the other hand, seems to have better returns and has a place where there's a voting sort of mechanism, and it's something that we've not had in the stock market. We've not had it in crypto in the start, but now sort of decentralized finance allows its users, like we have here, like we have 23 people, 25 people here, they're able to vote on the development of things. And this is really unique coming from JP Morgan, because you would think something like JP Morgan would only back your centralized exchanges that sort of have political following or having a national interest. But even they are saying that centralized exchanges have way too much power, and if you have a CEO that goes through all the back channeling and the environment does not tackle the issues, then you don't have a good place to either buy that crypto token or trust that exchange. So I think that's something I've been sort of focusing a little bit on. I mean, yesterday I spoke a little bit about how money is moving into things like, you can say DYDX and things that are more decentralized. And I'm glad at this moment I've been offered jobs in a lot of centralized places in crypto, but I'm glad I kept true to decentralized finance and realized that that the community, this is really really unique. The community is what takes that brings success to any sort of NFT project, to any sort of crypto token or utility, because it's the community that is able to spread the word of the solutions, but also is able to vote, and that's something important. As we know, anything that's been voted upon in the 19th and 20th century has always had rigged moments, but in DeFi it's the opposite. And yeah, so that's my sort of insight. So JP Morgan are basically in plain sight saying back DeFi, and have voting rights on. So if you say for example, if you own a portion of liquidity in a project, then you, as the user, the voter, and the owner of the token, should be able to have an interest and a voice. And isn't that quite big coming from JP Morgan, Atlas? What do you think?
I would agree. I would agree with you.
Mhm. So that's the first thing of news. So it's I'm great all of you are here, and all of you are on a decentralized project like ARK. And today we had our public round, which I was for the last 3 days I was very excited on. So it's great that we're there, and soon we're gonna have a bunch of more updates and a bunch of really cool partners. And yeah, like things are looking really progressive in that case. The markets right now are sort of in a sideways movement, both in crypto and stock and sort of indices. So I've not traded much today. But yeah, apart from that, is there any subject matter that you want to look into, Atlas, on the special day?
I don't know. There's nothing that comes to the top of my head right now at this moment. I don't know if Brett maybe has something, or someone else here from the team.
Yeah, today's been a pretty busy day, so I haven't had a chance to even keep up with the crypto market, to be honest. So Z, I'm sorry, I don't have any. There's no alpha coming from me today about the general crypto world, but yeah, we had some I guess general comments that were good ones from our AMA earlier today, and I think people, I think the shift is happening where people are understanding that the centralized approach is definitely not a fair approach, and we need to distribute and take back over our finances as much as we can. Obviously, playing alongside the system that's there, and I think that's what we're trying to do here. Is build those systems of passive income and generate wealth for people that then they can interact in a different way with the economy. So, yeah, it was a good message that you had earlier. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll continue on that sort of subject matter then, because I feel that when we look into a token project, or we look into these things, and we feel that we want the team and sort of the company to have as minimum of an exposure to the liquidity pool, because we want the community and whoever invests in the crypto the token to like have that sort of thing. So it becomes a voting thing, and I feel a lot of these centralized things, especially with sort of FTX and others, they own a big majority of the pools, and this is why we have this is why we call them shit coins, right? When you have a bunch of sort of users that own majority, that's when things get tricky. That's when you have a Shiba Doge 50% correction as quickly as it happens. So I'm glad the team here has a good small exposure, and we can promote that to like other projects that we partner with ecosystems, to have the same following, because it's a community. Out of all of this, like what we understand is the community is worth trusting, because it's a collective with any project, with any sort of exposure to any portfolio. So it's a great thing that we are positioned in that way. And then at the same time, we can have the community here, and we have people like Neto and other folks that are honest with their sort of questioning, and I think it's sort of, I call it intellectual surveying, where we can have an open AMA, we can have these sort of podcast forums, and on a day-to-day basis, any sort of investor can come forward with their teams and be open about the kind of questions that they want to ask. Yeah, when it comes to technical things and like architectural things, yes, we have limitations. We cannot share everything. But when it comes to team building, when it comes to the roadmap of a project, and having time and space to ask those kind of questions, this is what democracy is, and I'm glad that we have that.
Hey,
Pardon? Sorry.
yo, Zeke, I wanted to ask you, what is your,
Mhm.
if I may put you on the spot, market maker, what is your take on Trump's announcement? Because we talked about cycles and how the next election could be the turning point. Do you think the markets are reacting to it? I mean, it looks like it's sideways, not yet, right? But do you think how do you think that's going to, do you think that's going to accelerate the recovery or accelerate a bounce in the market? Or is there going to be like a mini rally and it kind of comes down further? I know you touched on this before, but the timing of what's recently transpired, how do you see that affecting the market short term?
Yeah, so politically, what we saw even more than Trump was we saw Republicans winning the House of Senate with 218 votes. Now the thing is, I don't like taking sides of any side. Like, knowing the Brzezinski model and how Democrats work and how they've had policies before. We've had Clintons, Obamas, and we were close to having a Hillary. And what it seems to be is the two facets of politics is, one sort of says we should regulate, we should have higher interest rates, we should have less of an exposure to the markets, and then the other side says, like, we should bring in investments and we should lower our tax brackets and be able to bring in an investment. So like when I talk about Singapore, when I talk about Dubai, I'm sort of voting on that and saying that they're open to investors, and that's what sort of the Trump era was. We lowered tax. We yes, at the higher political level, at the sort of social level, yeah, we divided a bit. But was it good for crypto? Like, that's the fact. Was it good for investments? It was. But I'm not taking any sort of sides. That's just my sort of views on how the Trump rally was. Right? We had a Trump rally. We took Bitcoin from the mirror of, let's say, 25 to 30K, and or even lesser, and we took it to 60K at the first rally, and then 2 years on, we took it to 67K with the same policies. I feel that what the Democrats have done, to quantitatively, like sort of rupture interest rates, and first decide to not increase them, and then to increase them the way they have, and the way they did it, 75 basis points every quarter, has harmed the environment, has given us a sort of, it decreased our exposure to, as you can say, riskier assets, and people sold off. I mean, it's not the governments that move market. It's not JP Morgan. Is how the sentiment is. And the current sentiment is we don't like high interest rates, especially when we're recovering from COVID. I think it was, I mean, I didn't agree with the interest rate hikes. They have their reasons, but has it harmed the market? Has it made our sort of adaptation to the new to the new normal easier? It hasn't. It's made us much more divided. It's given us a harder sort of expense bill. It's put us at war with certain countries, like we've had the sort of NATO Ukrainian sort of aspect. So you have to take it from all aspects. I won't say Republic or Democrats, but how does a leader um, increase or decrease its investment in its country? And some countries are more open than others. But right now, investments in America, or like you can say, the world economy, the world economy is diminishing a little bit. Where we're moving, like I think we had the whole movement of people leaving these big cities, right? So democratic cities like your Chicago's, your states, sorry, should I say, Chicago, Illinois, your Los Angeles, California, your sort of New York, all these different states have seen people move to other places, places like Texas, like so you have a thought process there, and you're like, so when Trump the timing couldn't have been greater for him, right? Where he announces his election, and then we have a majority in Senate, and crypto could hopefully, like the sort of statements, I don't care if they're Democrat or Republican, if they realize that, to bring in more investments, to bring in more trust, we have to decrease the current, you can say, fiscal interest rates and also tax. And I hope Biden or the Democrats are taking notes of this, because the elections are, Neto, I don't live in the States. How far are we from like the national elections? Like, are we a couple of years away or a year? I believe they take place in a couple of years from now. Can you guys hear me? Because it just went silent here. This happens to me.
No, we
24,
hear
yeah,
you.
24. Yeah, 24.
Years.
Yeah, excuse me. I just got back. Yeah,
No
we
worries,
got
no
2
worries.
years.
Okay, so everyone's listening to me. I haven't lost network. When things go silent, I feel I've lost network, but we're here. But yeah, so it's a 2024. So yeah, I'm bullish on that side, and if you see like all the tech entrepreneurs, you had Peter Thiel actually leave Facebook board and leave Meta and all his sort of tech companies to rally to have a Trump rally to work on Trump's elections, and Elon
Yeah, but
Musk has been
he's part of a huge fund though. He's part of a huge crypto fund, isn't he? Like what is it, Block One? Isn't that what it was? Isn't that his fund?
Block One. He's an advisory on. I don't think he as
Oh,
an
I see.
individual. Yeah, I don't think him as an individual has, like, thing is, when you take a person's name, you have to see their portfolio, and if you're saying that, Block One has max exposure to crypto, then I would say, yeah, as a company maybe, but like himself, he never agreed to any of these sort of divisions. He didn't agree to the interest rate hikes that we have, and I think that's why he left all his political alliances to focus on one. So I think in a couple of years we might have, according to stats, according to the Senate and stuff, that we might have a Republican candidate. I don't know if it's Trump. It could be Santini. Is that his name? Santini's another one that's famous. But yeah, overall, I hope
DeSantis, yeah, DeSantis, yeah,
DeSantis, my bad.
Florida,
DeSantis,
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, like, I hope I was able to answer that question. Was I able to, or did I puzzle you even more?
I love
You
your
did a great
analysis,
job,
bro. I love
Z.
your analysis.
NATO, give us another question. Give us another one.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I mean, everything is leaning towards 25. A pivot in the in the whole market. When Trump, maybe a follow up. When Trump, look what the equities did when he was in. That was insane. So I was just wondering how the reaction would be, or what you think is when that would be, because it's now formal, now official. But you're right. Lately, from my perspective, the crypto market is decorrelated from the equities. Like it's not in tune, right? Like the SPY was pushing and then we were going sideways, but that's because it was a huge cloud from the implosion of the exchanges, right? And also lending and all this. So I'm wondering if you feel it's going to be a divergence or a convergence between, or kind of tightening back to it in the medium term, let's say.
Well, when it comes to sort of, if I talk traditional finance and I talk stock, and when you have divergence between the dollar index and the Nasdaq and sort of bigger indices, then yeah, you need to have a dollar that's more weak, and then you have more investment into the assets of that environment. So for me to like convert my dollar, pound sterling into dinar, or having it in US dollar, it all depends on the exposure I'm implicating to myself. And when Trump was in power, the good things that he did was he was able to bring investors from different places. He was able to win a bunch of hearts on the world stage, right? Because he wasn't looking to make money because he had the money. He was more interested, like I would say, in a comical way, to win the Nobel Peace Prize. So he was trying to make agreements between North and South Korea, trying to fix the Jerusalem sort of issues, and work in that way, where he said, I would like to earn my Nobel Peace Prize compared to Obama. He made it really personal. And if people feel right now with sort of Biden's America that we are entrapped, that we're not able to pay our bills, or our gas, electricity bills are gone high. I mean, that's one thing. Like I disagreed with sort of like Biden and what he did with NATO and stuff to start the conflict in the first place. Like, why are we entering a place that we have no interest in the first place? Our people in America have a rich history. Why are we imposing our laws on how NATO runs on borders and stuff? So Trump stayed out of that and tried to win a Nobel Peace Prize, compared to how others sort of like have a direct implication. And unfortunately, but we've had some other news that happened, right? And someone just like I forgot the late Nancy Pelosi. Does anyone know what happened to Nancy Pelosi today?
No.
Fired, right? You're fired, right?
Yeah, she stepped down as the speaker. And she stand out. So for a person like Nancy Pelosi, if you don't have majority, then you're eager to step down and basically see what the Senate votes for next. So I think we're starting to see small implications of what's to come. You have small things. So you have, Nancy Pelosi stepping down. You have a majority of Senate now controlled by Republicans. So that means anything that the Democrats try to follow from here, if they try to bring in crypto regulations, what I sort of take an interest in is now it's going to be debated in an open environment compared to previously, right? But yeah, I mean, like, down to it, I wouldn't like to turn this into a political rally. It's not an interest of mine. But is it good for crypto? It turned out, yeah, it was good for crypto. But yeah, like, I think the bigger cause, more than this, is a decentralized finance crypto, and not a centralized controlled crypto. And centralized crypto exchanges try to back politics, try to back the Senate, and we cannot have that. We cannot have a singular way of doing things. We have to have a voters' right, and I think that's where DeFi will win overall. And to see big banks like JP Morgan make the statements that they are, I'm sure when JP Morgan starts, it's gonna have a domino effect in all the other sectors, and they'll all realize that you cannot have a central party, you cannot have a Trump, you cannot have a Biden, you cannot have a Sam Bankman-Fried running the policies of where crypto goes. Crypto is strong when it's when it's built around decentralized finance. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, but
Let's get this crypto.
Unfortunately, excuse me. Unfortunately, though, you are seeing a centralization because of all the exchanges toppling, right? And it's consolidating into few, right? So
Yeah.
They are not all toppling.
What's going on?
Milo, they are not all toppling. I think you're being a bit dramatic, if I may say so.
I think one or two.
Just just because a couple of bad players are, having their ass handed to them doesn't mean that there aren't companies, exchanges out there that are doing the right thing and being transparent, holding reserves correctly and doing good business, following regulation. So I just wanted to.
So Gemini reduced. No, I agree. I didn't mean to say all. I meant some. Pardon me for that. Misspeak. But like Gemini, I heard in my group that they're not doing lending. They issued a letter that everything is cool, and then they stopped. Then they held some funds, and then Crypto.com proactively issuing to just after Coinbase, saying, everything is good. We're we have reserves. Everything is up and up, and so you don't know who to believe anymore. But they're doing that. They're issuing that statement for a reason, officially, right? There's huge concern, and you don't really know if it's true. How do you really know if it's true? Oh, what is that? Proof of what is that thing that they're doing now? Or they're going to do proof of what's the term? Proof of reserve? Not proof of reserve, but you know what I'm saying, Z?
I think what happens is, okay, so the way it gets played out is when you have a big player like FTX and this debacle, and this is not our first one. We've had one last year as well, and we've had the one the year before, Mt. Gox, not far away. So it's sort of like a repeat of history. What happens is when something like this happens, when one domino falls, then all the others get tested. And we had that with the Terra Luna thing, right? When Terra Luna happened, we really questioned stablecoins. If Atlas remembers, it was the focal point of our discussions for a while. And we're like, which ones are really backed and which ones are really pegged? And that's what's happening right now. So if the Terra Luna sort of stablecoin fell, it didn't mean that USDT fell or USDC. In fact, what happened was they actually put out statements. They actually went into Congress. They went and took an active stance and showed their books. And I think that's what's going to happen now with these centralized exchanges. So we as sort of individuals are can only just follow the trend, So I think now sort of Crypto.com has been in the spotlight, and so far has survived and said we are we have a transaction policy and we don't hedge in that way, and we hold people's accounts in a secure way. And thus far they've had a bit of backlash from crypto Twitter, I can say, or a few article writers, but they have survived, and there's others that are that have to also show ethics and moral and transparency. And that's what DeFi is all about. DeFi was all about transparency to start with. So I wouldn't call all centralized exchanges bad and say they're all going to fall and we should be worried about it. I think a few fell, 3 Arrows Capital and FTX fell, but then after that we had an accountability check, and we had the same thing with Terra Luna on stable coins. So yeah, that's my opinion thus far. We'll see how it develops, right?
Absolutely. The house of cards is playing out. But there will be winners and there will be losers. And, there's definitely, a shift that's happening. And it's not just happening in America. It's happening on a global scale. You're seeing, even in China, where we're seeing here that they're facing their own perils, their own situations with the real estate market and their growth, their zero COVID policy. And, we're seeing the energy crisis, in Europe. It's not one thing that I think we could zero on. And that's what I love, coming here and having that macro, global perspective and understanding how all of that ties in and plays into, why we're here at ARK, why we built ARK. As folks are looking for the passive income, understanding that those days of 100x in 3 hours or in a couple of minutes, those days are not here. I mean, I hate to point it out, but I think we all understand it. And we can't control what's happening with the price of Bitcoin or Ethereum, and we don't have to. We can control what we do here, what our smart contracts do, educating our investors, leveling the playing field, learning from all the experiences that have happened. And, as we go on this journey and embark on it, I think that a lot of folks are going to be able to sit back, let their calculations, their strategies, really set them up for, their goals and their financial future. And we can, kind of stick our heads back in the window and not have all the noise that's happening. But, obviously, Z, you're always here with us because we want to understand. But we also don't want to go so deep into the details because, a lot of stuff could actually make you crazy or get people depressed. It's, I understand when I start going into the news cycles really deep, my mood changes. My body tenses up. That's another reason why we have, Coach Roberto here with us. He'll be doing Mondays, by the way, Z. He'll be joining us on Monday. So we'll have two guests. Oh yeah, he's going to be here. We have a team vision with him on Saturday for the core team. So that's going to be quite exciting because look, we can't let all that affect us, especially if we're understanding that we're here for the passive, long-term, sustainable investment. And it's taking refuge into what we've done here, what we're building here. And I think a lot of folks need to just sit back and relax and let that flourish, let that grow over time, and not be so how would I say, so sensitive, and let that negativity come into their mind, into their life, and to their well-being. Because, like I said, I personally, feel it. I don't know if you experience that the same, Z. When you let all the this said and the Nancy, it's good to hear about it, but
Yeah, it is a slippery slope, especially when you start to take sides, when you take an interest. The great thing with how my conscious works is I let the noise come to me, and I just sort of articulate it the way I see it. But do I take an emotional response to if Nancy Pelosi dropped or if Trump comes in? Absolutely not, man. I'm more about utility, and I want decentralized finance to always win. That's my sort of moral concept around it, right? That's and hopefully we have that. I hope no matter what cycles we have through, I hope the proof of stake and the voters' rights are the things that win overall, and that's what we're doing here. I can give you an opinion, but it doesn't mean that it's gonna that we should have an emotional response to that opinion. Our duties as speculators, right? We're speculators of the projects that we want to be aligned with. It's to do our research and have a detachment from that, and that's why we need our box breathing. This is why we need an overall perspective, and I hope we keep it crypto. If you remember in my previous discussions, whenever someone would try to bring in a policy or something, I would always have someone DM me and say, we're moving away from crypto, guys." and I think that's the same thing here. Like, we have to, when we have an opportunity like we have here with ARK, and we have a community like Drip and Furio and others that have had success, then we should use an opportunity like this to look around our networks, to look around our surroundings, to see who we trust, who we can sort of build a bond with. And if it's a bunch of farmers, amazing. If it's a bunch of lawyers, amazing. Whoever our network is around us, we should be promoting positivity. We should be doing things like we're doing here, where we're having open discussions, dialogues, where we're having guests. I don't count myself as a guest. After seeing the Florida state developer, after seeing Coach come here, they are specialists, and it's for us to like.
It's for us to like. Good.
Yeah, it's for us to basically take in that information and take in their experiences. And soon we're going to have that in ARK, when we're going to have different teams. I'm sure Neto has a team of folks. I'm sure others have their own teams in place. And we can always learn insights about different, you can say, categories of industry. It could be law, it could be hospital sort of industry, or it could be, I hope, never politics. I would hate.
Yeah. Florida Realtor, and I was taking notes when Florida Realtor was here on the other podcast, and Nate was asking some questions, and like you said, an expert, absolutely amazing, and that's that's what you're going to see grow here on this community of folks coming, and there'll be guests on the podcast. By the way, Florida Realtor, wrote to me. He expressed a personal interest in becoming more involved here with the project, with the community. We have upgraded him really to admin as he wants to roll up his sleeves and participate. I mean, he's pretty much always here. He's here tonight. Hey, Florida Realtor, are you there, my friend? Are you able to speak?
I am. I'm kind of in and out. I'm just, I kind of just stopped in my tracks listening to Z talk, trying to take notes and just try to wrap my head around all that knowledge that he's just dropping tonight. I mean, just unbelievable. Good stuff, my friend. Good stuff.
Appreciate it. No, we need leaders like you, a realtor. We need leaders like Coach. We need folks that are experts in their field. And I don't know what my expert field is yet, but it is good with information and taking notes. So when we have folks like yourself and others that are in the near future, we're going to be launching this thing, and we're going to be building networks in all different industries and categories, and we're going to have leaders like yourself and others, and we're going to learn from each other. That's what an open source environment is all about. And I hope my views of how I see things aren't seen at face value. I hope I'm critiqued. I'm audited in my words. But Atlas has given me the free role to answer questions. And that's how we should be. That's what an open democracy is about. And I hope we have a digital democracy of ARKs here, and we have many chains to it. So yeah, that's my opinion here. Let's keep learning, and the way we're going to learn is to see a trend and to see its sort of pre-reaction and its post-reaction, and then whatever happens in the middle, that's when we take notes and say, okay, that's the lesson to be learned there. And then we can open up the Bible scriptures and say, okay, fine, that's a lesson to be learned there. Oh, then when we hear a coach speak about box breathing, or his angles of how to hold breath, then we learn something there. And that's what we're going to do in this podcast. That's the sort of open environment that we have. But I'm super excited to see the networks that we start to build. Yes, partnerships and what we do as a team is great, but you folks are the community. You folks are the leaders. You guys are the ones that will build the ARK and enter that ship as we go through this sort of. Right now it's stormy pathway, right? We're in that in the film set where the thunderstorms are coming, the waves are getting higher, and emotions are high, and people's sort of division is high up. It's for us to navigate through this sort of subtle environment that we have, and hopefully come out wealthier, more familiar with DeFi, and being able to build our teams on the ARK. So I look forward to that.
Let's get this crypto. Happy
Awesome.
days, man.
Awesome.
Well said, brother. Happy days. No, absolutely. And there's so many folks, you're right, Z, that are going to come and just bring so much value to this community, to all of our knowledge base, and be able to share with each other and grow together. Because as we know, I mean, look at the Dr. Kelly Snook calculator she did for us. She's a great advisor here. We're all going to create our strategy, and we're all going to have to hunker down and go through whatever is going to come our way, whatever storm, keep us afloat from, the financial markets, the crypto abyss, the ice age, or whatever some might be saying. We are locked in. We are locked in here, and the way that the ARK's built is so fair, so that the folks do their due diligence, they analyze, they spend time with the white paper, they come here, they can ask us anything. Our chat's always responsive, all of our admins. We are here every single night on the podcast to answer questions, have fellowship really with each other. And once they make that decision, it's a long-term one. Not any, member here, any investor can just hit the panic button and leave us all hanging, leave us out deserted. All tokens, team, advisors, private investor, public investors, everything, my friend, is going into the ARK vault. and after launch as well. You would like to have ARK token in your wallet, you have to earn it. Just the same way like all of us, making our sacrifice today to have a better tomorrow, to have our rewards, to have our goals and our financial planning, our strategies to care for our families, to diversify when things really, in my opinion, hit the bottom. We're not there yet. I think we all know that, or most of us know that. There's going to be so many amazing opportunities in real estate, commodities. I mean, we're going to take our pick. We're going to bring experts to help us to show their point of view as to what their diversification. They've studied and they've implemented. So they're going to come, and we're going to open the doors, and we're going to sit down. We're going to have these conversations, and I guess we all should go out and buy a nice big notebook. What'd you say, Z?
Yeah. Always take notes, take mental notes, take physical notes, take actual notes, and then reflect on them on a day-to-day basis. This is why I have a diary, and in the diary I have 3 different subcategories to, like, one is how I feel, one is how the world feels, and what we're trying to implement from there. So it's 3 stages. And yeah, I am that way with a lot of things. And today my feeling is, we've had a great public sale. We're part of decentralized finance, and we have folks from all sectors and people like Coach and Florida Realtor, and we have so I'm feeling ambitious and also content that we're going to be building this ARK in such a way. I saw something similar in the Polkadot community. Do you mind me speaking a little bit about that? I just need a couple of minutes.
Go right ahead. Absolutely, brother. No, we've got time, man.
So yeah, so right now, there's some great development happening in Polkadot, where Gavin Woods is now the chief architect, and the reason why he stepped down as CEO and he's going into the sort of the new role that he is because they are on their second stage of development. So when Polkadot first started out, they had Sora and Kusama as their sort of you can say oracles. And then they worked alongside Chainlink, and then they created a dev community above I think 3,000 to 4,000 developers. They brought people from all walks of life, and some were architectural analysts, some of them were from the mechanical engineering side, some of them were from Silicon Valley, and what they would do is they would have these open discussions on a day-to-day basis, and someone from South Korea would have a differential opinion to someone in Brazil, and a different opinion to someone in Australia, New Zealand, and they would talk about you can say barriers to entry. They had these topics. I don't know if any of you are anyone here is a substrate developer and knows more, but is anyone here? I saw someone unmute their mic. No worries. But yeah, so we saw a bunch of leaders turn out from there, and we started to build real. One thing they all voted was to have interoperability, and not just have interoperability on Substrate, but have interoperability on Polkadot, on Solana, on Layer 2 projects, on Arbitrum, on Polygon. And then from there, what we saw was a bunch of, you can say, use cases come out of all walks of life, and having a liquidity pool that was multi-chain. And that's the first thing that we need. We need a decentralized place where we can have that. Now what's happened is they have established that. They've established their oracles. They've established all their use cases. So if anyone searches Polkadot ecosystem or goes to polkaproject.com, you'd see their ecosystems, and you'd see all their wallets to their data feed analytics, to all the different utilities. And then now what they're doing, so what Gavin Woods is doing now is he's going into the real world, and he's looking at real estate development. He's looking at investments. He's looking at all of these different niches, and honestly doing open discussions with them, and that's where the real learning happens. And he's in his last discussion, he kind of mentioned it thoroughly. He goes, "I'm here to learn from you, and not the opposite." and hopefully we're in the same development. Like we had the same thing with the drip community, where an ecosystem was built, and then we had calculators built, we had data feed analytics, we had different analytics that we didn't have before, and fortunately here we're more open about that, and we welcome that, and we're gonna have some. So if we have people like Kelly Snook and others that give their insights and say, guys, maybe an NFT should have utility in this way, or someone says we should have a calculator that does this thing. Here's an example. What happens there from there is you have development communities, you have architects that start to build the ecosystem from there. And that's the same thing I envision here, starting with passive income, keeping people away from the expenses that we have, the gas, electricity bills that we have, and then developing worlds like we are, like where I am right now, where people haven't got enough wood to burn on top of this mountain to keep warm. So if we sort of have people unlock that ability in the game, then they can think about utility in a different way. And I hope we do the same thing the way Gavin Woods and the Polkadot community did, and really open up it to like many different use cases. And that's what I saw there. And if you have a couple of minutes, can I go into the Chainlink rabbit hole? Because I think it's important. Yeah. So in Chainlink,
Go ahead.
yeah. So in the Chainlink attribute, what we saw was the community not just work on interoperability, but they actually said that we need to create the layers that build stability between the metaverse, between the layer twos, between the different mainnets. And now if I say if there's one token in the world that I'd get into, it is Chainlink, because what Chainlink have done, if the metaverse sort of succeeds in the near future, if NFTs and real estate and these different, you can say, merchandising communities get big, it's Chainlink that is there to give kudos to, because they're the ones that are building the layers. They're the ones that have the engine sort of. They're the ones that are bringing in like big you can say graphics companies and gaming companies to really create those supported layers for folks like myself to launch an NFT and actually create game theory to it. So that's what happens when you have success. Success is sort of just like our consciousness. It's something that we have to work on mentally on a day-to-day basis. And it's the same thing here, where they opened it up to the wide community, and they brought in leaders from all. They didn't just like hire Tony Robbins to do a speech. They actually brought in experts from all walks of life, from Goldman Sachs to real estate to energy companies, and really speak to like oil engineers in BP. And I hope that our podcast, our sort of community here, keeps growing. And I'm sure between us, even though we're only 15 folks here, but between us, we have an interoperability network of 500, and then those 500 have a interoperability network of the next 5,000. You see, this is how the Merkle tree works. So that's my little phase, and that's my sort of norm of what I want the ARK to achieve, and hopefully we get there.
Let's get this crypto. Fantastic, man. Man, dropping pearls tonight, brother.
So you
Beautiful.
think Chain has a much greater upside than Bitcoin in the future and Polkadot?
I wouldn't take sides again, just like you did with the politics. But what I would say is Chainlink is working alongside Bitcoin protocols, so they work with Lightning Network. They also been working on Decentraland and Sandbox. They've also been working on Ethereum Layer 2 with Polygon Matic. So they don't take sides. Same thing with Polkadot. They don't take sides. They want to get the best attributes from all walks of life when it comes to protocols, and they're not one-sided, which is awesome. Hope that answers the question.
Got a question.
Go for it, Nawaf. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. I was discussing with S23 today, and I will. I told him so now. So I'm assuming it's an idea plus it's a question. So we collected the NFTs. Come first day launch, we all accounts set, distributed, and then most of the crowd, as I see in the community, they are not very clear on what to do. So okay, we know the system basically you have to compound every 24 hours, and there is the system starts as one off, one on, right? One withdraw, one compound, one withdraw, one compound. So at the end
We
of the
did
day,
just we went through that, but feel free to ask
yeah, I just
anything
want to
else.
understand is there would be, you see, most of the people, they don't want to be dropping into the the rates that is not wanted neither by ARK protocol, neither by the people. So if there would be like some system that helps the people, I know I heard in the morning that you will have like pop-ups and all that that says that your NVD is dropping, and yeah, and what is it, CWR, what is it called, I don't know, the
Yes,
WR.
the CWR.
yeah, that is dropping. So then they will get pop-ups, and you will be able to know what you need to do. So if there is any automation, like, like a package that you pick up, like, and that does the thing for you, you only have to do is monitor, and you are doing your strategy basically automatically without impacting the you're over compounding or overdrawing.
Yeah,
To do the
you'll
best,
know ahead of time.
basically,
You'll know.
basically
So if you're
to do the best practice automatically. You understand?
yes, yeah, that's what the auto allocation that service that we talked about earlier does. So it's like an
Okay.
auto compounder. So it follows the schedule, so you won't fall into trouble.
Yeah, I'm
If you're
sorry
following a
because
manual,
you
if you're
guys
following
put
a
a lot of
manual,
effort. You guys put a lot of effort, and you stay so long on AMAs. I can't, I got to do some other things. I
I
appreciate it.
understand.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Take care. Thanks.
Great.
Yeah, automation.
Yeah, we
That's
had
what we.
an extensive conversation with Navaf about everything, but it's a complex system. So still, like, some things are, when someone comes new to the project, they have a lot of questions. We covered most of that, but yeah, still everyone can come in and they may and ask some more. But the automation was one of the things we discussed, and actually Navaf was the person that I said earlier that came in the VC, and we were talking about the automation and the automatic redeposits, which was a great idea. So it was Navaf that we were talking yesterday about that. And yeah, and as
Hey,
I
real
told
quick,
him, or
S23. Yeah, that's not going to be included in the auto allocation. The redeposit's really a manual action, and it's not encouraged. So, to me, the redeposit strategy, I think people are trying to maintain the 2%, but obviously you do have to pay taxes on that money. So it's not really something that we encourage. It's completely possible you can do it, but I would say use the calculator to see if it makes financial sense for you.
yeah, but like
We
having the
we do not
option.
mind paying the tax. It's just the headache of the calculation. You don't want to be dropping, and you don't want to be over compounding. You know what I'm saying? It's like what we are trying to say. We the investor would like some kind of guideline that helps him, to do the best practice. That's all. That's all. As simple as that. We don't mind. I understand the strategy. That it is great. Actually, it's genius. That you have to withdraw, and then you have to deposit again to pay taxes, build up the vault or the faucet. This is very good, but all I'm saying is just some guidance of the, best practice. There's some sort of something easy, because I don't know. First day you claim, the second day you compound, you claim, you compound. You have to make a schedule that you have to follow. You understand?
That's what the calculator is for, Noaf, that Kelly Snook created for us, because each person's financial situation and strategy will be different, and there are many factors involved, whether you're team building, solo player, whether you're buying an NFT, if you've got bond. So that is why we suggest to people to look at the calculator, because you can personalize it and create your own strategy.
Navaf has not a problem with a calculator or using it or whatever. He's just one of the persons that he doesn't want to spend time looking constantly if he's going to drop or whatever. Like he says that if an auto deposit system could be added to help sustain a good percentage, that would be good for him and all people that are busy and don't want to get into it too much.
You don't mind the tax, dear, except if somebody wants to be in the, for example, 4 to 3, then he choose that. If he wants to be in the other package, like the 2 to 5, then he choose that. If you want to be, so you don't need to bother, doing what you need to do. You just need to select this. You're comfortable with this, that's good. You need variety, and you need taxes to come in. Nobody's saying no to tax. As I said, this is what lured me into ARK, is the system that you would draw some and compound some. It's just, the guideline should be very simple in the AI UI.
Absolutely. You've got a great point, and it's important also as we merge on over to the investors that are not DeFi investors, that are regular average Joes, as we call them here, normal people that have never really invested in crypto or DeFi. It is important that we are able to guide them and give them simple options that are just going to make it sustainable for them and make sure that they don't make a mistake. So that's something that we intend to work on here, especially as we get closer to the mobile app, to strengthen and make sure that the user interface is very simple and uncomplicated, and maybe even having a drop down menu where you can really go more analytical for those folks that really want to be able to view and understand things deeper. The calculator also put in there, but in a very easy to understand format. So I completely get where you're coming from, sir, and I do agree that it is our task to simplify it.
Fantastic, yeah. Because I've been spending a lot of time. I saw the Kelly Snook calculation, and I saw all the YouTubes, almost not all, but that's like 4 or 5, the English ones at least. And I understand to a very high certain extent, but that's why I thought if there is like this suggestion, I would say it. And then I spoke to S23. Then I got to understand if I have like 4 wallets, as like Kelly said. So with every wallet, maybe 1 or 2 NFTs that depends on the luck on the next phase and the phase after it. And then I decided I'm trying to build up a strategy. But then I said, why don't I recommend this? And I'm happy that you understand. Thank you so much for your time and effort. You're putting a lot of effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Nawaf. That's in my book, my personal opinion. That's an amazing idea that we discussed yesterday, and I hope it gets implemented. The people should have if they're going to suffer taxes for that, that's their choice. It certainly doesn't hurt and it guarantees that the standard percentage of the money, instead of going out and be sold for BUSD, it's going in back to the system. It's helping rather than hurting the project in my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's like we just stated. We have to face the challenge ahead of us to be able to have people that don't have the time or just wanting, to get into the investment. I can tell you 10 friends that I have like that. They don't want to hear how it works and how does it make money? How do I make money? What button do I press? How much do I put? How much am I going to make? Don't waste my fucking time. There are people like that. And we have to be able to connect
Most people are like that.
right. And we have to be able to transcend, not let that be a hurdle, and provide the Cliff Notes version, the very, easy. That's why you see Apple has done so well. They simplified things. They made it user friendly. Look, we have a fantastic staff here, guys. They're extremely professional, creative, and experienced. So I have no doubt that as we progress and we go on this journey, we're going to have so many upgrades to really how we present ourselves. I know that we have a light paper that's even coming because a lot of folks just don't want to spend the time. They look at it, they can't get past page 2, and you have to understand there's a lot of folks like that. We understand that, and it's a challenge. Now we are starting our base, to give us a little bit of credit with sophisticated DeFi investors. Okay, these are not your Safe Moon crowd. These are not your shitcoin crew. Like, these are fantastic folks who are educated in the ROI DApp space. And that's fantastic. We need those folks. We need you here as educators, as investors. Talk about a solid base. But once we, fill that level, once we understand that for our growth, for our investment to last years, we need to onboard not 100,000, wallets, not 200,000. That would be a failure. If we're crossing over to the mass market, we need to be able to connect with them and make this so simple, like playing tic-tac-toe, because TikTok is as much attention span, I hate to say it, as most of these folks have. We just have to accept it. It is what it is. So let's go out there and let's win their hearts, their minds, and bring them into a fantastic investment.
So I've had opinions about the protocol being over-engineered is one term I didn't particularly like, but also you do have a level of complexity. I would agree, because of the requirement to pull and maintain your CWR within a certain threshold. But to the point of the other gentleman, I would predict that there will be tools, third-party tools like Netify and stuff. Like, there are tools like Curio, for example, you could do for scheduling, and you could see, and also not just one. I'm sure there'll be like multiple to support multiple wallets. There are a variety of tools out there, so there are good smart developers that could provide that support, if not in-house, third party, and that don't require even wallet connects. So that's going to be helpful later for people to schedule things. I think that's an important element of support to supporting the investors that don't necessarily can't track. And I'll also, I think you can show the schedule of claim, of withdrawal and compounds too, like below in your dash, right? I'm assuming you're going to have like that, not calendar, but like record of those things, events. Is that correct?
Don't assume. And I want to be clear. This is why we're here, guys, to listen to you, to answer your questions, to grow together. And we're open to ideas, and we're open to ways to improve and make things better. There'll be a V1 mobile app, a V2, a V3, a V4, an update. We even have a way also, like you just mentioned, of doing it without Wallet Connect, but that has its implications. So we're working here to create the bridge, right? To be able to use that mobile app to reach those, let's say, unexperienced investors, right? So we understand it clearly, and we ask you for input, especially, when we put it out, your critique, and understand that this is a work in progress, that we'll have, the bare bones type of version, and, we'll go and expand and be able to target this market. It's multi-language support, extremely important. There's a lot of things that in the first version you're obviously not going to see. We got to get out to market. We got to start working now. So we have to, push. We have to go fast, and our message will become clear. We will understand from the feedback. Hey, this is confusing. That part is, I understand, and then be able to find, I think, a proper way to really, explain this and show a user interface that is just going to be very user friendly, and it's just going to make sense even to a 10-year-old. I mean, that's our goal, right? Because if a 10-year-old understands it, one at a time, please. One at a time. Let me finish, please. If a 10-year-old can understand it, S23, please. If a 10-year-old can understand, sir, please.
Oh, sorry.
If a 10-year-old can understand it, a single mother, a truck driver, even elderly person will be able to most likely understand it. Although our kids are pretty advanced, right, at 10 years old. But I think you understand the message that I'm trying to say. We have to cross that hurdle, and it's going to be a learning experience. It's going to be a process. We understand that. We need to simplify things a lot. Now that under the hood, it's very complex, fantastic. How many friends do you know, and I know, that are analytical? And if you show them, the kids version, they're going to walk away from the investment. We all know somebody like that as well. So we have to, have both options for both investors, the very analytical and the person that's just give it to me quick, easy to understand. Go ahead.
One thing I gotta say is that I'm very happy that to have you as a leader of this team, and I'm not gonna expand on that, but I think we're all lucky to have you, brother. And we had long talks. I've actually introduced some aspects and ideas, and you listen, and you have a vision, you're flexible, and you adjust and innovate, and that's very nice. That's makes me feel good.
Hey, Atlas. One quick comment to what you're mentioning. We've been talking about having an entry level investment that's not, the daily ROI DAP with the long term big ROI, but having a simple, easy to use, lower APR APY type product, and we may already have it. We've been talking about using the foundation, which is our liquidity pool product, as the entry level, the easy one. So it's just a fiat on ramp right to BUSD, right into the foundation. And then it's a simple tax structure to really understand. Simple compounding. You earn a reward, you compound it once in a while. It's not going to be growing crazy, or you don't have to manage it. There's no automation or anything weird to deal with. We could even do auto compounding inside of that protocol if we wanted to. It's very simple. But then it's basically BUSD in, BUSD out. It's a liquid pool, so if they got in trouble, they could pull out their investment. But you might be able to get a triple-digit APY pretty easily out of it. And then if we built some real-world applications around it, maybe fed it with maybe some fees from the fiat on ramp, the fiat off ramp, and built the rewards pool out a little bit, more aggressively, we could get to maybe 150, 200 APY, which for the average person on the street, that's a huge return compared to what they're getting, out of their traditional banks. So we might have that product already sitting under our nose. Now, once they're in the foundation, now we're, beginning our internal marketing strategy, the education piece, moving them towards the ARK Vault, the legacy NFTs, and the graduation of their understanding and comfort level as they move up that chain. But we understand that the education going into an investment like the ARK Vault is, I don't think you're ever going to get to the point where it's just something you could hand somebody, and the person that's a little bit skeptical about it is going to have to spend a little bit more time. But something like the foundation, easy. Connect a wallet, BUSD in, BUSD out. I get it. APY, or in that range somewhere would be our target goal. And then start the education on the other products that are significantly more complex. The UI on it, because of the data that people want to see, they all manage different strategies. They want to see things in different ways. We could simplify that down and maybe do a light version of it. But at the end of the day, people are going to want to dig under the hood and really understand it. So we may already have that progression in place. We just need to, I think through what that would look like. But I think it could be very simple to automate that process, add to our liquidity pool, support the rest of the protocol, but then have a very entry level, more real world level investment that the masses could come into the funnel under, and then we educate and build from there.
Yeah, that might be a compromise that would be extremely fruitful and beneficial as we progress and move forward. However, I do still believe that we have the capability to simplify things for a lot of investors as they onboard folks, and we can refine our message and our voice, and create videos. That's something that we've talked about and discussed a lot. Educational videos that are short, but that give folks let's say the training wheels, right, to really get in and understand the investment and be able to manage it. So, I mean, we have a lot of options on the table. We have a fantastic team. We have fantastic advisors. We have this great community here that's coming and interacting with us and giving us feedback. Guys, this is what we need. This is so important. And, ideas are absolutely always welcomed. And, advice on how to do things better. That's something I think we will always need to embrace and be open to be able to grow. Because you're hearing from your people, you're hearing from your friends, family, investors. I don't even have the time to sit with my 73-year-old father and explain it to him and get him in here. We talk here and there. I answer some questions, but he's like, I'm still confused, and I understand that. And I think it's a challenge, and maybe the light version will be a complete smash and a hit. So as we sit and onboard our DeFi, investors are well-seasoned, experienced, foundation here. I'm just so hopeful and understanding, their feedback and their advice as they understand that crossing over is a big part of our sustainability and growth. So no, absolutely fantastic. And thank you, sir, for bringing that up. Is there anybody else that has a question or a comment about that? Maybe Z, you want to touch on that? I'd love to hear your point of view.
Sorry, Realtor, you want to say something?
Realtor.
I was just going to add to that, from what I see and what I understand with ARK so far is, it could be the gateway that this space is looking for, because, I've been involved with other projects, and I know a lot of the people that's in here are in the same projects. It almost seems like every project, about 80% of the people in it are in the same thing over and over again. It's just like we just need to tap into that other realm of people that really don't know about this space. And I think ARK has the mechanics and has the team and has the skills to be able to simplify and get it to where it makes sense, where people could get into something like this. So, and I believe that whoever can tap into that other percentage that's not in this space is going to cross the finish line first. And I think ARK has the potential for that.
Yeah, so my opinion on the overall thing, it started with Nawaf. Nawaf threw a really important question, and he talks about the normal, what was the Joe? The sort of I forgot the thing, the average Joe, right? The average Joe to be able to tap into a simplified solution, and we started there. And then as I went silent, what I was doing in my head was iterating, right? The word is iteration. And a bunch of protocols that we've seen around DeFi get asked these questions. Could you simplify the process? And their majority answer ends up with, no, we cannot. It will compromise the way the environment works. But here we take everyone's opinions, and from there we sort of iterate and iterate and iterate and continue iterating. until we have a simplified solution. So I'm glad that we have a mobile device app, and we have ways for both the complex investor, someone who goes way into the white papers like me, and then we have someone who's more simplified and is doing a lot in life and is not able to go into so much detail. So that's why we're here. And I would also say that everyone's given their opinions. This gave his opinion, Brett gave his opinion, Nawaf gave his opinion, Realtor gave his opinion, but Neto had to mute his mic as well. So if Neto wanted to say something, I'd welcome that. The reason I say that is because I haven't seen this issue in a while where where 5 of us spoke at the same time. And it was just interesting to see everybody's opinions. But apart from that, yeah, guys, like this is why we're here. We're here to iterate, make it simple for the common person, and make it open to other more sophisticated individuals that just go into more into the rabbit hole of understanding the calculator and understanding the strategy that they want with their team. Thing is, what I kind of feel is you cannot create a solution that fits all and everything. You can create options to fit every purpose, and that's the challenge with most protocols right now, to make things simple, but also have the complexity for people that want to sort of open up and understand the manual book much deeper. So that's my opinion.
Thank you, Z. No, you understand it, and I think we all do. Look, we've taken care of the safety, the sustainability on a long-term basis, which is something I think we can be really proud of, the way the system's engineered and put together. And I think our next goal and hurdle is that translation to the common man, so that they could understand and they could partake and they can join. And when we can achieve that, I think it's there's no ceiling, right? There's no ceiling to how far we can go to cross on over. We have the app developers, but we have to tell them, hey, we want it like this. We want it to have this type of user interface, to be simple, and then also complex if somebody wants to dig deeper and manage the app. Just like anything, you can have I'm trying to think of a good example here of an application that has a simple, easy to use interface. But if you want to dive deeper, you absolutely can. I think we all. Can you think of one?
I've got an idea. So You're in Finance went through the same thing when they started off with farming and creating complex liquidity pools. But when they realized that it was fletching a bunch of their price action and people were moving to other protocols, they started to build the vault. And the way they built the vault was they opened the discussion to the community, but also hired folks from different mainnets. So we're kind of doing the same approach here, where we're taking opinions and we're seeing where our limit threshold is, and if we ever go through that, then we can also dive into other sort of folks that have resolved that, because that's what the founder of You're in Finance said. He goes, I didn't know this solution until I opened it up to like a job application, and then from there we were approached with folks that have actually resolved and created that solution. And I think we're going to have the same approach here.
It's extremely important. And I think we all see that it is a viable solution. And it is not a problem. It is something that just needs to be put into a way that just makes it so much more simpler. So we've been talking about this quite a lot, especially as we gear forward towards the mobile app. Those are conversations we're having here every day, and I think we're going to be doing soon also a meeting with our advisors to get from them also some fresh ideas, as they've been in the space for some time and they understand those hurdles. Another part is we are going to be creating, sort of promotional videos, 1 minute, 2 minute, that you can send to a friend in WhatsApp that's breaking down the investment in a very positive, enthusiastic manner and simplifying it, for that person. So they just become interested and they're like, hey, well, what's this thing you sent me, Z, on WhatsApp? It looks kind of cool. It's, got great graphics. It's telling me I can, earn 2%, and all I got to do is follow the strategy and I get my return on investment. And then they come ask questions. And, that's when if the person that sent that video isn't, versed and educated enough to really be able to go, answer all the questions, they send them over here and to our Discord. And, we'll do the same thing over in Twitter and the other social medias where we can connect with investors and answer their questions and get them involved. So that's all in front of us. And, as we come together, like we're doing here tonight and we do every night, I think we're, be surprised at some of the folks that will come and help. And if we have to hire someone like you're suggesting, that might be in a solution, and, to bring professionals that have taken complex things and been able to really translate them, then that's what we'll do as well.
Yeah. So a famous person by the name of Steve Jobs did something similar with Apple. When he created his board of directors or his advisories, every couple of years, he would add someone to that sort of advisory that saw things differently to how his team saw it, and that's why Apple is what it is, because they brought on professionals and they hired technical, like to work for Apple. You don't just have to know Swift. If you know some C# or if you know other things in CS or anything Illustrator versions, like, you're welcomed at Apple, because that's the same sort of issues that they go through. And currently in DeFi, we're kind of having that issue where we want mass adoption, and the issue with mass adoption is not everyone has a computer, not everyone has a MetaMask wallet to connect, and if they're able to from their Android or their iPhone to be able to download the app. And a bunch of folks in DeFi are struggling with that, and we can take it up to the highest caliber and say even big sort of centralized exchanges are struggling to make an interoperable solution to that. So for us to first tackle the mobile app, I think that is the first way to let the mass market sort of adapt, and from there we'll have a dev community that sort of is available in these podcasts. Someone takes notes, and then whenever there's something unique, like what Navaf sort of pointed out, then we can sort of work on that and tether that idea and iterate from there. So it's a good place that we're in right now, and I'm glad that we have a team that's open source and we take questions from all sorts. But yeah, trust the team, and as time passes, we'll be on our 100th podcast, and we'll be taking different interoperable questions from all sorts and resolving those solutions. So appreciate it. Good question.
Absolutely. I mean, can you imagine, being able to get you said you were with how many kids today?
Today, I would say a total of 300.
Okay. Could you imagine us being able to refine it down to a level that those children would be able to understand this? Or is that too far-fetched?
No, kids, man, these days, they don't need any textbook. What they do is they type the word into YouTube, and the second time you see them, like the next day or the next hour, they have already found the solution. They're much more they're very different to us boomers and sort of older folks. Like they tap into something that's instant. Like they'll Google it straight away, they'll YouTube it straight away, and they'll find the solutions. And these days, we're like, since sort of COVID and everything, some of these kids they were taught remotely, and they adopted to that. So no, I think we can make it as simple as a video of a tutorial, and then from there it opens up the sort of canvas of, okay, this is the manual book and this is how you can do things, in a different way. And this is one strategy. This is something that works for them. And then you have folks from Cryptozoa that create blogs on that. And then people have a wide aspect of different things. It's the same thing that we do in the trading world and in other places. We hear other people's ways of doing. I mean, there's no one way of doing a solution. There needs to be a multiverse of ways of doing a strategy. So yeah, kids can tap into that in one TikTok video or YouTube video.
Yeah. Is there anybody that has an opinion or comment or question?
Yeah. A while. Excuse me.
Go ahead, sir.
A bit ago, a gentleman explained something really. It's very, very important. Where you have like a on the UI when we start on the second, so you should have track record of what is your actions. That is very important. Another thing that is very important that a lot of the other protocols they don't have is the age. How many days you've been in the protocol? Like, I mean, now I've been in one, I don't know whether I should mention names or not, but I've been in a protocol. I want to remember when did I start? I cannot remember. So I had to go to the BS scan and check when is the first commission taken. And it took me an hour to figure out which day did I start. So you need to know how old are you in the protocol? You know, where do you stand towards of your ratio? Some sort of personalization, like your name, makes you feel that's your, you know where you are, what you do, and what you need to do. So this is very important. I was just going to mention about the age. That's my point. I don't want to take a lot of time. A lot of people want to talk to.
I appreciate it. Awesome, Nawaf. Good. Every day we learn something new on Atlas. Someone has a differential of opinion or a suggestion, and then from there we really brainstorm. This was an awesome session. Thank you, Nawaf, for that.
Absolutely. No, look, it's important, and personally, I enjoy it. Understanding, it's kind of funny you mentioned that, because one of the apps that was shown to us by our team member here, Mr. John, it was for a hedge fund, and it was really neat because they did a chart that showed, a line that was going up, kind of like a crescent moon, right? It's like going up and showing you in a time frame how your gains are going up. And it's so simple to see something like that, and you understand, this is how long I've been here. This is, how much my investment is maturing and growing, right? And look, there's so many ways. That's why I'm confident, very confident, that we're going to be able to transcend that, and we're going to be able to break through and do something that we can be proud of, and it's going to really make folks want to come and participate. It has to be attractive, it has to be user friendly, and it has to be something that also has that professional feel, if you know what I mean.
So the other thing I had in mind, so we started off talking about centralized exchanges, and that's where centralized exchanges go wrong, where when it comes to like creating and iterating, there seems to be a threshold, a sort of block, and they don't sort of carry on from there. It's like it's a corporate executive decision, and that's all we're going to do. That's why decentralized finance is so important because folks like Nawaf and Neto and others can kind of suggest, and that's why it's important to keep things in DeFi. And yeah, if it was any other sort of centralized exchange or corporatocracy, I'm sure they would take the suggestions, but they wouldn't sort of command from there to have an iteration unless it's voted across board. But here we decentralized finance, especially like something like ARK and sort of what we work in this protocol is we can, like we saw with Drip, we saw with others, where solutions got built, calculators got built, simplified solutions of like Like when Abbas talked about how many days he was in a protocol, it reminded me of the days where one of my friends asked me, how much have I staked and when did I start staking? And I went through a 35-minute sort of a screenshot phase with him to like find on BSC scan or on like the block explorer where he started and stuff. And yeah, if we can make it easier for folks to say, okay, to show statistics of when they started, how much they've earned, what sizes their teams are, and make it a more a visual stimuli and make it easier for people to digest, then that can only be good. So yeah, data feeds is a big thing that Nawaz sort of pointed out, and we've had a couple of folks DM us and ask for suggestions. So it's good that we can talk about. We can only do it in DeFi. We can't do this in more of a corporate environment. Would you agree or disagree, Atlas?
Oh no, I agree, but I also see that there's some apps that really stand out. I could tell you when I moved here to Europe from the US, the bank that I currently have, which is BBVA, their mobile app is just stellar. I mean, you know, the user interface and the way everything connects and just makes it so simple. And coming from other banks in the United States, I was blown away, and I did a little more research. And I at the time, many years ago, I had found that they had won like App of the Year or something like that for the banking sector, and I understood why. So there's very talented people that really are able to create things, and that's what I feel our guys is able to do, because I've seen the work. So there's no doubt in my mind that we'll be able to really transcend and achieve it, and stand out. What I was finishing off with, having that professional feel, but it's intuitive and, you know, simple and light, and also complex if you really want to, you know, go down that route. So no, absolutely fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, I have somebody that's been waiting for me to have an important meeting, so I'm going to have to step out. This is for our Korean community that we'll be starting pretty soon. So I'm going to tend to that. I'll leave you guys here to continue the conversation. Thank you all for coming. Let's get this crypto. I don't know if it's unfortunate you want to stop the recording. You can go ahead and let's let the folks hang out. I think we've been 3 hours and 30 minutes. It's been a long one.
Oh, whoa, dude. I've been here for an hour and a half. I didn't see the time.